Dragum, how are you? Hello. I'm wore out, y'all. I'm wore out. Hey, Fairy. Oh, can I just say this? For replay purposes, if you're watching this on replay, thank you so much. I really, really appreciate it. APs, how you doing, baby? I'm in my pajamas like I was a couple weeks ago. I wore my pajamas. Drag 'em. So I'm in my pajamas again. It's not cold here though, but I don't know. I have a chill. Hey, Clancy. Oh, Clancy. Yeah. Hey, Terry. How are you, dear? I didn't realize when I picked it. Hey, Mama Cannoli, Salty C. How are you, Clancy? I didn't realize how big it was. I didn't realize how many decades it spanned. I didn't realize. Hey, Sizzles, I love you. Um, I had no clue. I had no clue how big this was. When life gives you Lulu, that's cute. Well, I hope I do. Hey, Jeff, how are you? Welcome, welcome. Um, this is going to take two of the two Saturdays in a row. And because I was like, I did not realize, and stupidly, that the Texas killing field started in 1971 in one area of I-45, and then it progressed on kind of over up until literally the 2000s. That was the last murder that people, So, well, as I now know, there are so many girls still missing that have not been found. It's a lot, women and girls. But the first, in the 70s. Hey, mama, mama, how are you? Hope everybody's having a great Saturday. There's my Halloween, baby. Oh no, oh no. Hey, Holden Jean. I hope. Yeah, I just saw Tennessee is getting hit with some major tornadoes. Tim Miller is such a great man. And another problem, and I say it's a problem. It's a problem if you type in, hey, Outshine, if you type in Texas killing fields, right? Tim Miller's going to pop up. Laura Miller's going to pop up. Couple around her, are going to pop up. But you have to go and kind of look for the other girls. And I was struggling because I just couldn't find anything. And then I finally found on Amazon TV. Carlos, Roger Brown died. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Get his cats will be able to eat him. I found a 6-part docu-series on the first 11 girls. And I just found that literally probably 3 days ago. So if you think I'm watching an hour and I'm going to get, and it's 6 episodes, oh, I gotta get a minute. You found, right. Hold it. And I found the little documentary on Amazon TV, the Galveston 11. Because honestly, when you type in Texas killing fields, those girls don't show up. And the girls after the 80s don't show up. You got to go look for them. And I don't know, I understand that Tim Miller has made this his life, and he sure as hell didn't want to. He doesn't want to do it now. But he says, Sarah, I love you. So, but this is what he's he's done so that people like him, like, he 17 months, his daughter was missing, and he kept telling the police, go over there where you found that girl because they wouldn't tell him where it was. They told him it was off limits, and I'm like, what do you mean? Why did they tell you it's off limits? How'd the body get there? But this cops told him not to speak to the Faye family. Welcome, Terry, to the screening room. Yeah, he's worn out. He is worn out. I would be too. This thing drives him, and he can't stop. He can't stop. He wants to stop, but he can't stop. This was the sentence. Even, I know he does a great job, and he's never charged. Like he says, I ain't charged nobody a dime. That this has become his life, and there's nothing he can do about it. He didn't get to pick, you never do. So when I saw that the way the police treated all of these girls, you're from Mississippi, I heard of the Texas because it feels my question in the area, random bodies. Well, Jeff, funny you should. Hey, Brantley, my dear sweet love. Hey, Susie Q, it is like you, Jeff. I thought, okay, it's going to be bodies in the same little area, So no, it's not. It's not. It started in Galveston, Texas, along I-45, I-45, Eli and Mama. And then in the 80s, it got nearer to Houston and all these little cities in between. Oh, in the 70s, a lot of this area was just muck and bayous and ditches and wet, and that a killer knew. You put a body in that, it's not going to be there long. It's going to decompose. Hey, Figment, how are you? It's not going to be there anymore. What I was shocked about, just loading the bags. When I was shocked that police would rather tell a parent, your daughter's a runaway. She didn't want to live with you. She's probably on drugs. That's why she's gone. Knowing they knew all those girls went missing. And it was between 1971 and 1977. And it was 11 of them that one particular killer took credit for. Until he's like, Lucky Luke, how are you? All right, I'll speak up. I'll speak up. So, yeah, this is a crazy case. I did the first 11, all right? And then I'm going to do Laura Miller, 1984. She went missing. I'm going to do Heidi Faye, who went missing in 1983. And actually, her and Laura Miller were found very close together. This is how we knew. That's how people, might be... This might be connected. It might be the same person doing this. Even though it is. It's good. I have so much, y'all know me. Y'all know me. All right. I'm writing all the time. I'm always doing this research. And I had to. You can't cover 30 victims with any integrity. They deserve their name to be said. They deserve, to be acknowledged that they were here, and they deserve that. So I'm not going to skip any, but I'm going to jump from the 8 to the 11 over to Heidi is what her parents and family called her Heidi, but her name was Heidi. Faye and Laura Miller. And then next week, we'll tie them up together. because I can't leave any of these. If we went through all 30 of these, we'd still be here tomorrow. That's what I'm going to do. So what I was going to start with, though, is I had to look up 17 did an article. Sarah, are you checking my search history? Because I've got it pulled up right now. I have it pulled up right now because there's different ways people look at these cases, okay? They will look at the first one that went missing, or they will look at the first one that was found. It's one of those two, right? And I get it, because it's very hard to keep all these it's hard to keep them all in your mind. So I have up here, waiting if I need it, the date that each girl was found, just in case I need to do it real quick. Because I mean, it's hard to keep them. It's hard to keep them separate. It's really hard to keep them separate. But I've come to know these kids. I'll tell you that right now, and it broke my heart. And there, for the grace of God, I don't know what I would do. But then when I looked at the known victims, and then when I went and looked at the still missing, Queenie, looked at the ones that are still missing, which is a lot. Oh, thank you. I just think it's important. EquiSearch. Yeah, I thought I knew all about the EquiSearch. And when I watched the Netflix docuseries on the Killing Fields, Tim Miller said he remembers finding his first body, and he was on a horse. That's why they named it, EquiSearch, because these places that these bodies have been are disgusting. I mean, they're disgusting. And the little 25-acre little patch that they found the 4 girls in, one of them being, Laura Miller. It's beautiful now. It's kept up. They've got monuments where the different girls were laying, and it's, mowed, but it used to be just a dump. That's why, it was such a great place to hide a body. So even when the police knew there was one body there, they, Roy, you want to go check over there, see if there's any more bodies? Because all those bodies are close together. So anyway, all right. Well, here we go. All right, let's talk about serial killers, because I had to look up serial killers. Hey, Sarah, I had to look up serial killers because I thought I knew, right? No. I know that there are 3 kinds, right? Organized, disorganized, and mixed. That's how they, the psych people can always cover their ass. We'll just throw in a mixed. But yeah, throw in a mixed. There's different reasons why they kill. There are different who they kill. Sometimes they don't have a preference. It's all about the hunt. Sometimes they have a very specific preference. Girls, boys, women, it's too much to go through here. But some are very impulsive, some are very methodical. So it's really hard especially when you have these 11 girls, and they were all, majority of them were very, very young. But it was like, not all of them were blonde. Not all of them were, one was a redhead, one was, brunette. This guy found them in different places. Some he knew, if we are to believe, because the man that confessed in a letter to the police and many, many newspapers, the man who confessed to killing, sending 11 went to heaven. That was his little 11 went to heaven. Yeah, he didn't get arrested. He's not arrested now. I don't know. He might be dead. I don't think he's dead, though. So, yeah, he did. They might not be. So let's start. Let's start with this kind of serial killer. I always thought too they had to be very smart. Is he dead? I thought so. Okay, hold it, Gene. That's right. I knew he was. I, I've got so many in my mind that have confessed, and a couple of them are dead, and I lose it. I lose the information going from one place to another. So, all right. So let's see. Now, what would be odd? All right. So, what if you have one serial killer in your town? That's odd. that's the word they used is odd. But if you have two serial killers and they're using the same dumping ground, say in Houston, and they don't know each other, then that's extremely odd. That's the odds of that happening. But that appears to be what has happened. And yeah, it appears to be what has happened in the 80s and near Houston. But we're going to start in Galveston. And we're going to, let me bring up I always forget I've got pictures, girls and boys. Let's see. Okay, don't want her. Sorry. All right, this is the little mock-up of one of the shows, but look at it. It is absolutely chilling that, there we go. Trying to make it as big as I can. There they are. And another thing that I will absolutely raise hell about is when we get back up to where Laura Miller and them were killed, and there was Jane Doe and Janet Doe. All right, in that little field you had Heidi Faye, and then you had Jane Doe. Welcome, Okie, to the screening room. You had, all right, so Jane Doe, then second, and then you had Laura Miller, and then you had Janet Doe is what they called the fourth one. Now, hey, pirate, yay, pirate there. I thought you'd be down there, went down hey, Irish gal. Oh, you're so sweet, Irish gal. I thought pirate was gonna be out trying to find Ernie Shell. Ernie Shell. Oh, Jeannie, how are you? Thank you so much. Thank you for that, Jeannie. I'm glad you're here. I haven't seen you forever. So Galveston, guys, we're gonna go to Galveston in 1970. Oh, wait a minute, I hadn't finished my rant. Susan Yang, Dolly, Holly Dolly. Jane and Janet Doe were found in 1983, 1984, 80s. All right, the mid 80s. Nobody claimed them. Nobody said, hey, my sister's missing. I haven't seen her. Can you help? Nothing. And not only did nobody call and say, I think my sister's, there, they had the remains and did not identify those women until 2019. So they laid in a drawer. And somebody in 2019 said, well, let's grab, those two out and see. She gives him the will to live. And I thought to myself, you have got two people, more than that. There's more than that. All right. They've got people. And you are waiting until 2019. And I understand these things cost a lot of money. I get it. I also get that police stations, police departments, labs, they get a lot of money too. It just burned me up because one of the women who was a fucking badass mechanic, she was like, She moved to the area. Her family thought she just didn't want to talk to him anymore. And so she laid in a drawer till 2019 without a name. And she had a very distinct, pretty big gap in her teeth, right? So her pictures, her composite, were on billboards all over the place. And nobody said, that looks like, hey, Miss Teresa Upchurch, how are you? All right, 1971. 1971. Let's look. Hold on. Let me get y'all a picture. Here's another photograph. These are later deaths. They are, well, there's some over here that are old, and all these down here in the bottom are new. Newer, I say. It's not new. So here is Colette Wilson. Colette Wilson was 13 years old. She played the clarinet. She was the, she had 11 brothers and sisters. She was the daughter number 2. And she wanted to go to band camp that summer, right? It's in the summertime, June 17th. So her mother said, well, I've got like 37 kids here. We're going to have to figure out how to get you there because I can't put everybody in the car and get them. All right. So her band director offered to pick her up at the end of her road in the morning and drop her off. And her mother would be there to pick her up and take her home. Right. So the mother was a little bit late, getting up there. And she pulls into the dirt road where Colette is supposed to be. And there's no Colette. But there's a black car sitting there. And for some reason, her mother turns around and goes home. Colette was probably in that black car. But she turned around and went home and called. Their father was a dentist. So she called the dad. The dad went looking around and, all right. So I have no idea why she went home. But anyway, 5 months later, on November 26, 1971, near Addicks Reservoir, all of these in Galveston are going to be near water. They found her bound and shot in the head. Now, she is skeletonized. Her father had to go pick up his daughter's jaw. Say, that's her. That's her. He knew the work he'd done. That's her. So, this is the first one, right? So, nobody's sounding the alarm. We know this is a horrible, terrible thing. But in 1971, Brenda Jones was 14. Let me show you Brenda. If I go over here here, I can't see you. There's her mother nowadays. Now, this is little Brenda. This, for some reason, on all the documentaries, there's a lovely photograph of her with her little cat-eye glasses. But this is the only one that I could find. And I'm sorry, Brenda, honey, I'm sorry. But, all right, so there's Brenda. She is obviously African-American. So now we've gone across race lines, right? And Brenda wanted to go see her aunt at the hospital. So her mother said, yeah, just be real careful. So she rode the bus over there right near I-45. And she came home on the bus, and the bus driver told her, listen, this was on July 1st, okay, 1971. The bus driver said, listen, you're going home because it's getting dark. And she said, I'm going to go get my sister a Coke, and I'm going right there. So Brenda didn't come home that night. And the very next day, Brenda was found floating in a body of water near Galveston. And she had these gladiator, I don't know if y'all know what gladiator, the men won't know what gladiator sandals are, but gladiator sandals are like flat sandals, but they have a ribbon that, well, not even a ribbon. It winds all the way up your leg, and you tie it like a Roman soldier or whatever. So she was found naked from the waist down in the water. She was bound by the ribbon, if that's what you call it, and she had been shot in the head. So, however, and this is horrible, and I should even say this, but her sister said that the cops told her parents, yeah, she was still warm when we got her out of the water. The next day, she was still warm. What the fuck is wrong with these cops? So, if you watch the documentary, you'll see that they get those vinyl ribbons out of evidence. Also, the rest of her sandal washed up too. They had that anyway, and they attempted like a few years ago to get DNA, and they did. They got female DNA on it off of it, and they got male DNA off of it, but they didn't get enough to make a profile. So, that's, and she was shot in the head, by the way. She was shot in the head. Did I tell y'all how Colette died? She was shot too. She was shot in the head. All right, so this girl's very important. In 1971, Gloria Gonzalez is 19 years old, and she's last seen on October 28, 1971, near her apartments in Houston. Again, didn't come home. Her skeletal remains were found literally mingled with Colette Wilson's at the attic reservoir. She was literally laying on top of the remains of Colette Wilson, our first girl, our first one. So, and she died from a blunt force trauma to the head, also partially nude. And you're going to hear that a lot because pretty much they all were. All right, so yeah, this is interesting. It is. So in 1971, this guy was real active. So we have two girls. We have Renee Johnson, 14, and her best friend Sharon Shaw, who was 13. They lived in Webster, Texas, which is right up the road from Galveston, not quite to Houston. They were last seen walking on Seawall Boulevard in Galveston, right? So it's like, hey, Lily. I've already said hey to you. I hope so. I love you. On January 3rd, 1972, two boys were fishing out in Clear Lake, and they discovered a human head floating in the water. They thought it was a ball. And obviously they didn't pick it up. 6 weeks later, not far from where that skull was, they found the rest of the body of Renee Johnson, and they found her friend, Sharon Shaw. Sharon Shaw, all the girls, all right, so all the girls that are still alive, talked about how they would all wear crosses, they would all, do this. Well, Sharon Shaw had a rosary and a crucifix, and the way her jaw was laying, the crucifix was in her mouth, and that's how her mother ID'd her, because they were skeletons mostly by then. So now with these two are bad, because these two were, they were so decomposed, right? There wasn't a lot left. And literally the cops, and this is the second or third time we'll read about this. The cops would go where the body was and sift the dirt and try to come up with anything else. They came up with teeth, partial little bit of bones, but nothing big. So I would probably say 90% of their children weren't there. They just weren't there. Now we're gonna put this over here because this is gonna be important in a little while. This is gonna be important. So in Webster, Texas, that was a little old town, and Renee Johnson's grandfather was the, I want to say mayor, and he pushed and pushed to find out, what happened to his granddaughter. So he fired the sheriff, right? And everybody really rehired a bunch of guys. And within 9 days, these new guys, they had a name. Oh, we got a name. Oh yeah, we got a name. His name was Michael Lloyd Self, and he was a mechanic. Hey, Alan. He was a mechanic. He worked at a 24-hour gas station. He was a little slow, right? He did have a problem with peeping. He'd been arrested twice for being a peeping Tom. Alan, it does if you're not in Galveston, Texas, because it's all wet. Hey, Carrie, everywhere these children everybody was in water, and it took them literally no time at all to go away real quick. The guy, and there's a cop that's in the series, and he talks about how quickly water will start decomposing a body, and with activity. All right, so we had they hauled in Michael Self, right? The new sheriff and the new deputy sheriff, and they told him basically, we know you did it. We know you did it. Just come on and tell us. Hey, Ghost. I'm gonna say, oh no, don't whisper again, my love. Be good, be safe. So basically, he confessed to the crime, right? He confessed to the crime. And his story was that he picked up Renee Johnson, who again was 14 years old. He was 23. And he had been riding around. He had taken a bunch of like Xanax and drank 10 beers, and he was driving around. So he picked up Renee because he saw Renee walking. These kids also hitchhiked. Can I just say that? At this age, they were hitchhiking all over the place. And I understand it was the 70s. I get it. So he said, well, and then I picked up, then we went out to the yacht club, and she went inside and she got her friend Sarah. And I was trying to, have sex with Renee, and she wouldn't let me, and I got mad. So I picked up a Coke bottle, and I hit her in the head with it, and I think I hit her in the neck. And then the next thing I knew, the other girl was dead, and I put him in the water, and I can show you where I put him in the water. Well, there's only 1,500 people that live in Webster, Texas, all right? And everybody in that town knew exactly where those bodies were found. Everybody knew. It's not a big town. So he goes and he shows them, right, where he put the bodies in. They ain't found the bodies yet, by the way. Can I just tell you that? They ain't found the bodies yet. So, well, the next day, Michael says, you know what? I did not kill anybody. I was coerced into doing this. They burned me with cigarettes and put my hands on the radiator. They They pretty much tortured him. They suffocated him in a plastic bag. And then the sheriff lined up 5 bullets on the table in front of him and would load him into the pistol and put it to his head. And to make it stop, Michael confessed. But he confessed twice. All right. Now, he confessed twice. The first time he confessed, he had some stuff wrong, like what they had on, where he took them. Oh no, yeah, they found the body stuff. Sorry. He had some stuff very wrong, right? So in his second, hey, Lace with Macy, hey, Miss Christie, with the second, confession, he got all of that kind of got changed around. So that was, that was weird. Now, they took Mr. Self to court. They charged him with murder. And they couldn't find any evidence, none, on Renee Johnson that he'd ever touched her. Did nothing. I mean, she wasn't nothing left. And they did put him on trial for Sharon Shaw's murder. And he was convicted of it. He was convicted. That's going to change in a minute. That's going to change in a minute. So our brand new sheriff and his little, what do they call him? Was a deputy sheriff? They kind of liked to rob banks. They like to rob banks. The sheriff and the deputy sheriff were robbing banks. They were in this big robbery ring. Let me find his name. Hold on, I lost the name. Oh, yeah. So, hold on, let me find it, because I read this and I thought, you have got to be joking right now. No, not. So it was Sheriff Don Morris and Deputy Sheriff Tommy Deal, and they were arrested. They robbed just like 7 banks, and they were sentenced to. Don Morris got 55 years in prison, and Tommy Deal got 30 years in prison. But Tommy Deal got out for a little while and robbed 7 more banks. He robbed 7 more banks. So you would think with all this information and how, and people said, yes, Don Morris would do that shit. He would play Russian roulette with you. He would burn you. He would, break your bone. He would do whatever he had to do because he was the big guy now, right? He was the big guy in town. He was going to catch the killers. Oh, well, no, it didn't quite work out that way. And I must say that Michael Self stayed in prison. He died in prison in 2020 for a murder he did not commit. He did not commit this murder. And you say, how do you know, Shannon? He said he did. Because somebody else took credit for it sooner or later. Let me get back to my girls now. Hold on. All right, so next. Again, 1971. All right. We have Allison Craven. She is 12 years old. She was reported missing by her mom on November 9th of 1971. Her mother had gone to run errands that took about an hour and came back, and she was gone. So she was found in a nearby field in February 25th of 1972. The only thing that they really found were 2 hands and an arm. Her body was found on Pearl and also near I-45. So you have I-45. Oh, shit. Sorry, baby. I forgot. I have pictures. All right, this is Miss Gonzalez. All right, we're going to get to her. Here are the girls. This is Renee and Sharon. This is them arresting this poor man. And there he is. I could not find a photograph of Miss Craven. And I don't know why. These are, I mean, believe it or not, these things are hard to find. These are hard to find. So here he is. All right. So let me see. Found a skeleton. Yep. She was 10 miles from where she was last seen. That was from Allison Craven, 12. And we have these two little ones right here. All right. This is Debbie Ackerman and Maria Johnson. Now, this killer has already taken 2 at a time. 2 young girls at a time. I guess they were probably scared to death. They didn't know what to do. But these 2 were taken off, again, side of the road. They were trying to hitchhike. They had no school that day. So they were wanting to hitchhike from Galveston to Houston. Well, they were outside of the Baskin Robbins, right there near the ocean where everybody, all the kids hung out. And a white van pulls up. Did I not put the van in here? A white van pulls up. 1971 white van. They're talking in the, they're talking in the window. The girl their friend that's working in Baskin Robbins can't really see. They run around, they get in the van, and that is it. They're gone. And that was on November. November 15th. All right, so witnesses saw the girls getting into the van. So their bodies were found November 17th. Partially nude. Both of their hands were tied. They were actually tied to each other by the hands. And they were in a place called Tanner's Bay. Both have been shot to death. So both of these girls, it's 1971. They were little surfer girls. They both won awards for water skiing and surfing. That's all they wanted to do. And there was a place on the island right there on Galveston Island. It was a little surf shop. And the girls would go in there all the time. All the kids would go in there all the time. It was called Jericho's. Jericho's was co-owned by a man named Ed Bell. He loved diving, right? So he was a silent partner, but he was there a lot. And oddly enough, so the girls loved the Jerichos, right? Loved them. And Ed Bell was a co-owner. Ed Bell had just purchased a 1971 white van. But the police told all of these families, every one of these families, they're runaways. They're runaways. If they want to come back, they will. Knowing that they had dead kids all over that island, right? All over the island. Oh, yeah. They ran away. They ran away. And I always wondered, why would a parent with all of these children going missing in your town, why would you let your kid, 1, out of your sight, but 2, oh, yeah, I'm going to hitchhike to, I'm going to hitchhike over to Houston. No, you're not. No, you're not 12. No, you're not 13. No, you're not. But so none of these were investigated. The ones that took a while to disappear. So now we've got 1973. We've skipped a little bit of time now, and I don't know why, but Kimberly Pickford. Let me get her. I can't see y'all. There she is. There is Kimberly Pickford. She's 16 years old. She was last seen. She coming out of Dobie High School. She had just taken her driver's test. And that was on January 3rd, 1973. Her body was found 2 days later, January 5th, by two teenage boys, again, in the Texas, near County Road 65. And all right, so remember last couple weeks ago, the Braziona County, Braziona in Texas, when we were doing the Fort Worth trio. They were looking for the girls' bodies. This little county is popular for bodies, almost as popular as the killing fields, but not quite. But she was found there, and she was wearing a blue dress, and her shoes were missing. She died of strangulation. All right. So what are we up to now? I think we got 3 more to go. Okay. Right off of I-45 at a convenience store on September 6, 1974. Brooks Braswell and Georgia Gear, they were 12 and 14 years old, were last seen at Utotem convenience store off of I-85. Again, of course, right? They were runaways. So some of their remains were found in Alvin, Texas, which is also right there off of I-45. This is the one that gets me, is 7 years after they went missing. 7 years after they went missing, their partial bodies were found. Again, like the other one, the cops sifted the dirt, and they could only find teeth. And they sifted that dirt for 33 days straight until they just said, they had the teeth there, right? They were finding things, but just not anything that they could hand over and say, here you go. Here you go. Wait a minute. Yeah. All right. So where's my other girls at? Hold on, Dad, damn it. There they go. I'm sorry. Nope. Yep. Hold on, guys.
In like a cool way.
I got my pictures messed up. Shit. All right, anyway. Here's Ed Bale. Ed Bale was into real estate, into diving, into this, into that. He wanted a dummy. Some of y'all, let me come over here. Some of y'all, all right, if y'all watch a lot of, hey, Rachel, if you used to watch a lot of America's Most Wanted, not America's Most Wanted, Unsolved Mysteries, you might remember a story where a young Michael McConaughey plays the victim of a crime. All right, if you think about it, you see now, you go, oh. So what Ed Bale liked to do more than anything else is run around with no pants on, get out of his truck, car, whatever, and play with himself in front of children. And when I say children, I don't mean 12-year-olds. He had been arrested for it so many times, right? And every time he got out of jail time by saying, I'll go get help. I'll go get psychiatric help. So back when we had Brenda Jones, who went, hey, Flossie, hi, Flossie. Well, when we had Brenda Jones, who went to see her aunt in the hospital. Guess who went to that hospital for psychiatric treatment? Ed Bale. So that now you've tied Ed Bale, all right? And I had to listen. I saw these people. Sizzles, it's bad. It's bad. So we'll go to the last one. We have one more. Susie Bowers, 12 years old. She was last seen walking a 3-minute route. Welcome, Joey. Welcome. A 3-minute route between her home and her grandparents' home. She had gone home to grab a bathing suit on March 25th, and she was going to go to the beach and go swimming. So she went missing on that, on that 3-minute trip. Her skeletal remains were found in Altaloma. Her skull appeared to have bullet holes in it, but investigators couldn't determine her cause of death. And that's going to be funny in here because for a reason. All right. So, in 1978, Ed Bell pulls into a residential area, and he has no pants on, and he gets out of his truck, and he starts to play with himself. There was a boy in the neighborhood, Larry Dickens. He was at his mother's house. He was a 26-year-old Marine. He had a little 3-year-old daughter. He brought his little daughter over because he was going to mow his mom's grass that day. And she's looking out the window and sees this dude, get out of the truck. He's mowing, and sees that he has no pants on, sees that he's walking towards children, right, who at this point are screaming and running. So Larry runs over and gets the guy's keys out of the truck, right, and won't give them back. He said, I'm not giving you back. You're going to stay until the cops come. I'm not giving them back. So Ed Bell goes into his truck and he gets out a pistol. Now, Larry's mother is on the phone with the dispatch. If they didn't have 911 back then, telling them what's going on, right? And saying, he's walking towards my son with a gun, with a pistol. Well, then he starts firing the pistol and he hits Larry 5 times. That wasn't enough for Ed Bell. So Larry's mother runs out. Let me put up, there's Larry. Larry's mother runs out, scoops up her son, right, and is holding him because he's literally bleeding to death. Ed Bell goes to his truck, puts the revolver down, picks up an automatic rifle, comes back, and shoots the boy straight in the middle of his head. So, and then he obviously had the keys back. So Ed Bell gets in the car, gets in the truck, and he takes off. I can't see y'all. So she's literally on the phone again with the parent, with the dispatch, and telling them. They said, we're sending an ambulance. She said, my son is dead. My son is dead. So they catch Ed Bell. They catch him in his red truck in the neighborhood. They have the dispatch calls when they call her to tell her, we got him. We got it. So he's arrested and charged with murder. And, I guess indecent. I don't even know if that I don't know if that got on the table. I don't even know. And he got bond of $150,000. So Larry Bell pays the bond. And he jumps on a plane or wherever you do, and he heads to Costa Rica, where for the next 16 years, he lives on a boat, does what he wants to do, got a little 16-year-old girlfriend. But he went to Panama. He went to Panama from Costa Rica. And hey, curious. And he got arrested again for exposing himself to little children. They said, F you, we don't really want him yet. Can y'all please come get him? So they did. We went there and Texas went and got him. So he was charged only with the death of Larry Dickens. But Ed Bell, for some reason, Ed Bell starts writing policemen, police departments, newspapers, reporters, at large. Hey, Baker. $150,000 in 1978, Midnight Baker. It was $150,000 in 1978. And he paid it and said, bye. I know, it's crazy. That's crazy. So He, he's in there for Janet. He was in jail for a very, it was a long time. It was a long time. I ain't gonna lie. It was a long time. But he starts writing these notes, these letters, and he is basically naming the girls that he killed in Galveston. He calls that he sent 11 sent to heaven. That was the name of one of the poems he wrote. He names Colette. He names her. All right. He names Debbie Ackerman and I can't remember. He names them. He names them in the play in the letters. He names Gloria Gonzalez. He puts Gigi. All right, and where, and then he starts putting down the where he got like the 3 pairs of 2 that he took. He is confessing to sending all these women, well, shit, they're not even women, they're girls, to heaven. All right. He's never been charged. He was never charged. Never, ever charged, because guess what? They didn't have evidence, because the girls were skeletons. Most of them were skeletons. That was their reasoning. We don't have any evidence. We just have him saying he fucking did it. We don't have evidence. Yeah, 11 sent to heaven. That's the name of the thing. And I'll tell you what, if I tried to get a copy of that, because in the Amazon series of the 11, they read it, but not all of it, right? He describes how he killed. He describes how he did it. And then the ones that he didn't really catch their name, he just says where he took them. And with let me tell you what. Let me flip this over. Hold on. With little Susie Bowers, right? One of them he just called the redhead. The redhead. And then one of the pairs, I can't remember now which one it is, I'm sorry. He said the blonde and the brunette. So they didn't quite catch them. So he's not prosecuted for this because they didn't have any evidence. I know. Listen, do you see now why I thought I was covering these murders, but I'm not. I'm covering what happened to these girls, and this man was never ever brought to justice, and he was there in jail. He was already there. But when people wanted to go and interview him, right, he would still talk to them, right, and he would give them the names and he would describe them and what he did. And he said that his father had arranged for him to be programmed at 3 to be, that's why, was a pervert and all that his father programmed him. That it was a program. It was the program that they gave him when he was 3. All right. So, well, I don't think Ed Bell could believe his luck when nobody ever charged him with a murder that he didn't already commit, Larry Dickens. All right. So parole started coming quick. It started coming pretty quick. And so people would go to him and say, listen, these cases need to be put to bed. I didn't kill anybody. He doesn't even take credit for killing Larry, Dickens. He don't even take credit for that. They also believe that Rhonda Johnson and Sherrod too. Yeah, see, they knew him. He was half owner in the surf shop. They knew him when they got into the car with him, and all the girls, all the payers, they were all little surfer girls. All the kids went into that store. They bought T-shirts and whatever, right? They knew him. And the others that didn't know him, he's a beast. He was a beast. I'm going to show you the picture right after he got arrested, right after they brought him in for killing Larry Dickens in front of his mother, his daughter, and his sister. This was the look on that son Mitch's face. That is directly after he did it. That is after he did it. Look at those fucking eyes. And you're just not going to bother him because You know? No, Christy, he did not get out. But he thought he was going to. So he had these the cops were coming, reporters were coming and wanting to talk to him about it. And he was like, no, I didn't kill anybody. I don't know what you're talking about. That was a poem I wrote. I wrote a poem called 11 Sent to Heaven. That was a poem that I wrote. It wasn't true. So they could never get him to say it again. You know, he would say, oh yeah, I knew, Nicolette Wilson. Yeah, I remember that name. But he named her in the letters and where he killed her and how he killed her. So he just didn't talk anymore. He loved people to come see him, but he wasn't going to take, he really thought he was going to make parole. And do you want to know something? I was not going to be shocked if he didn't. But so that is the story of the 11 Sent to Heaven. And I know I've probably forgot major things. Y'all know how I am. But I hope I got the important shit because this was a slap in the face to these girls, their parents, their friends, their town, their state, and anything else in between, their world. It fucked up. And I don't know why Texas did not. And I don't know if maybe they were found in, they were found in different areas, right? They're not, they were found in different areas like Alvin and Webster and, but you had a long effing time. This sumbitch was in jail to figure out who was going to go first. If y'all didn't want to do it, collectively. I don't know if you can do it collectively, but, So, yeah, there was like, even the 11 who went to heaven. Now, I was calm down. Thank you. Thank you so much. All right, so we're going to go forward a little bit. And I'm going to address. Oh, hold on. These are my girls. I got to put my girls up. I feel when I do this, I won't talk about it anyway. When I start doing these things, right, and I'm down here and I'm spending the day. Hey, Barbara, how are you, love? I'm spending the day with these girls, yeah? I'm spending the week with these girls. I'm upstairs, like, watching TV, and I feel guilty because I'm not down here doing this because this shit deserves to be, exposed. I feel that's how I get real close to them, right? And I always say, when you stop, when you finish a book, you kind of miss the characters for a little while. I spent a lot of time with these girls. Yeah, I did. All right, so we're going to go up in time. I'm skipping a few. I'm not going in order. All right. Because we're going to get to all of them. Don't get me wrong. We're going to get out everybody. But these, I'm going to say these 2 or 3 are the ones that really got a lot of attention on the Texas Killing Field. And that would be Jill Miller and Heidi Faye and the person and a Miss Ellen Bison. So we go up to 1983, and we're in Houston now. And we have a young lady, beautiful young lady. In fact, let me introduce you to her. There she is. That is Heidi Faye. They call her family called her Heidi. She was 25, I think. She was a cocktail waitress at a bar called the Texas Moon, and very close with all of her family. I gotta dig her up. People. Oh, people, I gotta dig her up. You go, baby. I know. Here we go. I'm sorry. I thrush. I'm so glad to be getting this out to people to say it to because I feel like this whole week I've been down here seething. And of course, I'll tell, my husband, and he was like, oh, oh, that's horrible. It's horrible. And I want to keep telling him. And I know that I feel like, all right, hold on. I get it. Wait a minute. You just got home too. So let me not bother you. But when I get here on Saturday nights, y'all here, and I can, hey, y'all, guess what just happened? So, I don't know. Like I was doing some of this upstairs. All right. Now, and Calder Road, Calder Road. This is the 25-acre patch where a lot of dead young ladies ended up. I stupidly thought that there were a lot of them in there, and I didn't have to run around and I was woefully yeah, I did, but it's all right. So we have a little Miss. Thank you, Halloween baby. Thank y'all, really. I love it. I love you. All right, so 1983, April 6th, 1984. I'm gonna call her Heidi like her parents and her family did, because I feel like I can't. Heidi was at her dad's house, right? And she was getting ready to move with her boyfriend to Houston. They were moving a trailer into her sister's backyard and hooking it up and, just kind of saving money for a while. So she was going to go to Houston. So she tells her dad. Her dad, she bought her dad for Christmas a tape recorder, a nice tape recorder. And he kind of like didn't really know the hell he was going to do with it, right? Well, Heidi was last seen at a convenience store in Houston on the payphone outside, okay? And probably trying to find a ride to Houston, calling her friends. Don't really know. The girl inside said, oh, yeah, I saw her. Oh, thank you, Lucky Lou. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. The woman inside said, yeah, I saw her. She was out there on the phone, and then I just didn't see her anymore. So she's gone. She doesn't come back the next day to her dad. She told her, I'll see you tomorrow. She doesn't come back. And yeah. The cops told her family, guess what? Faith, 20. Thank you, Faith, so much. Oh, Faith, thank you. Thank you so much. Is there 20 people in here? There are. I'm sorry. So the cops told her family, don't do anything. Don't call anybody. Don't let anybody know. Your daughter just had enough. She was a, cocktail waitress. So she's probably God knows what. And her father immediately knew what. Oh, thank you, Faith. Her father immediately knew what he was going to have to do with that recorder. So he left up out the house every day. Her niece said he would do it every day. He would go everywhere that she would go, that she would had ever been. She would talk to all the friends. He would make a note. He had these little like maybe the size of a cell phone, little things of paper. And he would write down what the person had on, what they said, where they, this. And he would come home and he would get the tape recorder and he would put it into the tape. He would record it. And he did that, I think, until he died. Probably, I'm not knowing. He did it until he died. So she's gone. April 1984. That was 6 months later. But we'll get there. On September 10th, 1984, Tim Miller, his wife, and his daughter had just moved from Dickinson, Texas to Houston. And this was before the days where they can just click your phone on, right? You had to wait a long time, a while. Okay, all right, still, thank you, baby. So little Laura asked her dad that morning, "Can my boyfriend come over tonight?" And Tim Miller said, "Yep, I think that's a good idea. I'll go out, we'll grill and we'll talk. It'll be good." So he goes on to work. Her mother takes her up to a convenience store, the same convenience store where Heidi made her phone call, the same one. Laura went and used that payphone to call her boyfriend to say he could come over. Her mother said, "Listen, I've got to get home. I got to get to work. Come on, I'm going to run you back home." She said, No, I'll walk. It's a half a mile. I'll be fine. Okay. She goes to work. Tim Miller comes home. The wife comes home. There's no Laura. The boyfriend knocks on the door. Tim Miller opens and said, "Where is she?" And he's like, "I don't know." So she's gone from the same convenience store that Heidi disappeared from. Remember when we talked about serial killers and how some of them have a type, some of them are very methodical, some are very erratic. So now Tim Miller is also absolutely horrified because his daughter has seizures and she has medication that she has to take twice a day, and she didn't have it. And the cops told him, "Your daughter's street smart. She'll get the medication." And then Tim Miller, on April, police went to a 25-acre plot of land, and they found Heidi Faye. Here's Miss Miller. If you don't know what Miss Miller looks like, that is Tim Miller's daughter. They find her. And Tim Miller said, "Can y'all go look over there where you found that other woman? Can you please go look over there where you found that other woman?" And they said, "She's not over there. We've told you that was a random thing. She's not there. Your daughter ran away. Do not talk to the Fays, Fies. Yeah, Fies. Sorry. And y'all just don't talk. Leave them alone. They're grieving." All right. So 17 months later, somebody gets in there. I don't know who gets in there. And they find another body. And let me show you. Hold on. Oh, that's that addicts. Here is the plot of land. This right here. This in here, right? No, not this in here. I could be wrong with that. All right, so let's go look right here. This is what that piece of land looked like back then in the 70s. It was dirt, it was sand, it was water, it was garbage, it was sofas, it was cars, it was truck beds, it was, there's refrigerators, there's everything that you could absolutely toss away. There it is. That's where it is. That's where it all is. All right. And here is it on this little map. Now I got victim 1, victim 2, and victim 3. Victim 4 is in here. They just don't know it yet. So victim 1 is Heidi. Okay. Victim 2 is Jane Doe. Victim 3 is Laura Miller. And Laura Miller, this doesn't look like they're very close, but her and Heidi are very close together in this plot of land. So we have another woman, and I could not find a picture of her. Her name is Ellen Bison. Now, she was 30 years old. She went to, her and her friends went to this club, and it was called the Texas Moon. Does that sound familiar? Texas Moon. Oh, wait a minute. That's where Heidi used to work. But guess who loves going there? A guy named Clyde Hedrick. He likes to go there too. That's his spot, right? And Ellen meets this Clyde person, and she runs back and tells her friends, listen, me and him are going swimming. All right. Going swimming. It was what? Let me see. July 29th, 1985. So they go swimming. They go swimming. And Ellen is never seen again. Ellen is never seen again. And the only person that was there was Clyde, right? So they called Clyde. Clyde said, well, listen, the funniest thing happened. You ain't going to believe this. She died. I didn't touch her. We were swimming. I looked over. She was floating on the water. I found this. They believe this. She was floating on the water. I pulled her in. I was going to take her to the hospital, but I thought, no, they're going to think I murdered her. So I took her to this little, marshy thing, and I put her under an old sofa, and I put tires on top. So they looked at her body, and the medical examiner, he couldn't find the cause of death. He had no idea. So they charged Clyde with abuse of a corpse. And he diagnosis, I'm telling you, he has to pay a $2,000 fine and a year in jail. So that's what he does. He comes out as a free man, right? Now, if you watch the docuseries on Netflix, a lot of this story is put into a lot of his stepdaughter's story of him, abusing her. I'm not going to get into that. I'm just going to do this. Well, back in around 2012, somebody said, why don't we go over and exhume Ellen and see what the hell really happened to her? And the other one said, okay. So they dug her up. She's got several severe skull fractures that don't come from swimming. So, but, hello, Anna, my love. They when I say several severe brain skull fractures. So they bring him in, they say, you murdered her. And we're going to try you for murder. And he was like, whatever. All right, I'll show you him. He's a nasty little fuck. He lost half of his jaw to cancer. Here when he's older. There you go. So they they charge him with murder, right? And they get to the trial. And these people heard the same story y'all just heard, just a lot less of it, okay? What, honey? You need to watch it. It's good, Faith. Texas Killing Fields. So I have told y'all the basis of his argument in 1985 was, I don't know, I looked over, she was floating. I didn't want to take her to the hospital because y'all might arrest me, so I stuck her under a fucking goddamn couch and threw some tires on her. I'd hoped y'all didn't find her. So, all right, they're in court. And they're telling the jury what has happened. They're showing the jury the damn skull. They find him guilty of not murder, no, involuntary manslaughter. So, involuntary manslaughter is what that's what the DA pinned on him. That's all they could pin on him. So now let's see what connects. All right, let's see, 1, 2, 3 women and him. All right, he likes the bar, the Texas Moon. Heidi works at the Texas Moon. Heidi and Laura are at the very same, payphone. They both, they both get taken from that payphone, that convenience store. But I'm not done. It turns out in Dickinson, where the Millers used to live, Tim Miller finds out this little asshole lived 2 houses down from him. 2 houses down. So he sees Laura at the payphone, probably. I don't know. Maybe he sat outside of that place and looked for somebody to get on the phone. I don't know. But he knows her because he's seen her, because he used to live 2 doors down from her, right? And then you have Heidi, who was a waitress at his favorite little bar. And then you have Ellen, who he has taken swimming and somehow cracked her skull 9 times. There's a pattern there. There's connections, right? He is still only in jail for involuntary manslaughter. But did I say he was in jail? Oh, no, he's not. He got out in 2021. He was paroled. And the parole board and all of the authorities are keeping his fucking whereabouts a secret for his protection. But nobody protected Laura Miller or Ellen or Heidi or anybody else he might have killed. Nobody did it. But we need to keep him safe. Yeah, he was released in October 2021. They think to a halfway house, but the cops won't let anybody know. So that is just, let's see, 11, 12, 13. That is 14 stories that we've gone through tonight. 14 people were murdered. None of them have any justice, and they're not going to get it. Ed Bell died. He's dead. He's dead. So nobody's going to jail. People will say, well, he's in hell. I hope so. But I'm sure their families would like to have known that these girls were important enough to get justice for, because apparently they weren't. And I would love for any of these cops from back then that are still alive, even now. Why? You knew he did it. He said he did it. He wrote a fucking letter to you. You know? You said there was no physical evidence. Yeah, he threw them in water. And some of them for a very long time. So anyway, when they found Laura Miller and that little thing, they also found Jane Doe. They were so close together that, and Heidi as well, but those two were almost like right on top of each other. We know that they are connected. We know that Jane Doe is connected to Heidi and Laura. And Janet Doe also is connected to those women, because the killer felt comfortable enough to get those girls in there and not worry about ever, if they found them, so what? They were going to get, they were just like Ed Bell did not worry. Even when his people were, discovered the day or two later, he wasn't worried about it. He kept doing it. In 71, my God, he didn't stop killing all the way through 1971. And then he took for whatever reason. And another thing, if you think Ed Bell might not be the one that was killing the girls in Galveston, in 1978, when that man got arrested and then fled, the murder stopped in Galveston. They stopped. There was no more little girls. So, probably him. Yeah, Clyde Hedrick. I'm telling you, really seriously, go. If you haven't watched the Netflix thing, it's really good. They mentioned another girl that That's a whole nother killer. And I just didn't want to pile it. I already had a whole lot. I'm dragging in front of y'all. I don't like it. Next week we can do the remaining girls because there's stories that are probably, and I don't know. I haven't had the time to research any of the next group, the later group, but I'm sure we're gonna find some fuckery like we did here. It's a really great series. And, I always thought Tim Miller was a saint. And, man, I wish he wasn't. I wish that this wasn't his life. I wish that he didn't have to do this. I wish that, he got out of, he got to enjoy his daughter till his dying day. I wish. Didn't happen. It didn't happen. And, it's because of him stepping up and trying to find these young women and men. Because the police, I hate to be anti-police, but in this case, they weren't really worried about it. They weren't really worried about it. Fine. Thank you again for thinking. Oh, did I do it justice, Lulu? I didn't want to not do it justice. I really, really, really. Well, there's several. Here's the thing. They say it's a 25-acre plot. Well, that's true in the city, inside of Houston. And then out in Galveston, which is all connected by I-45. I-45 goes from the, Gulf of Mexico all the way to, wherever. So in that little area, it's not a big area at all. It's the girls are deposited mainly along the interstate or right off the interstate. So it was a whole lot. Oh yeah, drag them. I can't imagine. I think like that. The Colette's mother, League City. Thank you for that. That's League City. They're all so close, and they got that. They got 45 running through them. The mother that had the 12 children, and for whatever reason did not look into that car. I can't imagine her. I can't imagine what she went through. Did you read the one about? I did. Sassy Sarah. I did a little bit on her. I did a little bit. Yeah, I was when I see somebody getting to Maryland, I got to do it. Well, I'm so glad that y'all enjoyed this. Like I said, I love doing these. So next week we're just gonna finish up the girls, and like I said, everybody they deserve their name to be mentioned. Terry, thank you. I'm so sorry. I did not know. I don't know why you were ever on blocked. That's so weird. I don't block people, so it's really weird. Well, I appreciate that. I did a good job. Thank you, Ben. That is all. Listen, that's all I need. I just need that just to say I did them justice because I tried really hard. And like I said, I'm down in this office. Me and these girls have spent a week together, and I am going to miss them, but I got to roll on to the next, I got to roll on to the next and get the rest of them. And let me see what, I don't know, man. We might be able to fit one in on the 23rd of December. You never know. You never know. I don't know. But I know next week will be the rest of the killing field. And I am, you know what? It's like, here's what I feel like. I feel like I invited my friends over and y'all cared enough to show up and you had a nice time at my house. And you can't wait for me to ask you again. That's what, look at all this. Oh, wait a minute, you can't see me. Oh, Lord. You can't see me. Let me take myself off. There we go. So we got all this right here that we had to go through. It's crazy and it's scary, but times are different. So let's, I understand that. Times are different. I think maybe if I don't understand why parents were letting their daughters out. I don't understand. Thank you, Alan, for coming. I appreciate it so much. I don't know why they were still letting their kids out, but yeah, I would like to ask one of them that question. I don't think there's any left on. Oh, sassy Sarah, I love you so much. And I love Aunt Kathy. Is she there? I hope she's there. Oh my God, I ended it right good. I'm right on 10:30. That is so good for me. Outshine, thank you for coming. I really appreciate you. Yeah, me too, baby. Halloween, baby. I'm in my skull pajamas. I was in my skull pajamas. Oh, Sizzles, I appreciate that because listen, I admire your work. You know, you do things I can't do, like edit and I can't do any of that shit. And so I think everything that you put out is like a little work of art. And I appreciate them so much. Oh, well, Miss Christie, you know. Yeah, it's showing up here. Oh, she is it good. Tell her no more of that hospital stuff. We're not having it. I saw a meme that said, imagine you get murdered and someone, oh, oh, please. That's funny though. Well, taking a break is good. Taking a break is good. You know, create because you know what you do is creative. You're creative. Much love to you, Rachel. Thank you for coming. I appreciate it so much. You're pretty creative, and sometimes you need to rest your creative muscle. I don't have one, so I don't have to worry about it. But all right, so if y'all are having bad weather, please be safe. All right, because I can't worry with y'all. I'm not worrying with y'all all night, acting silly in a damn thunderstorm and or tornado. Thank you for coming. Thank you for the super chats. Thank you for the encouraging words. Thank you for the love. I appreciate y'all.
In like a cool way.
There you go. Did you hear that? That right there is Harry Styles. He said, but like in a cool way. All right, Faith, I love you. Thank you for the memberships. Mitten Mama, thank you so much. Thank you, all of you. I'll see you next Saturday if I don't see you before, but I probably won't. But I might. You never know. All right. Love you guys so much. Leave.